Jai Nandalala.
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 Want to be visible? Must be here.
Jai Nandalala.
Jai Nandalala.
Jai Nandalala.
Shall we start?
Yeah, I think about 33 people have joined already. You can
Yes,
start.
33 people are there. We'll start. Jai Nandalala to each and everyone. I welcome all Nandajis in our 4th virtual satsang. Until now, we have had 3 great satsang events, and I hope that with your active participation, this will be a success too. So we will start our session by a prayer by Aarti Sundaresan, then followed by Mr. K. Shankaran's talk. So Aarti, are you there?
I'm there.
Yeah.
அலையின் ஒளியாம் மதிவொளி உண்மையின் வெளிச்சம் மதிவொளி மயக்கத்தை மாய்க்கும் மதிவொளி அன்பின் உருவம் மதிவொளி ஒற்றுமையில் ஓங்கும் மதிவொளி ஒற்றுமையில் ஓங்கும் மதிவொளி ஓம் 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 ஓம்.
People to
Thank you,
join.
Aarti. Nice one.
Start earlier.
Kanani, should I start?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Sorry.
Jai Nandalala. We'll have a satsang. It's not going to be talked by me. It is basically, the topic was change. Today, everybody is facing some challenge or the other. Changes in every respect, whether it is personal or societal.
Video started.
And what I thought that, how do we cope with this change? How do we manage this change? Is there a change that we should make in ourselves, or do we expect a change in other people? Or we want to change just ourselves, or does we want to cause a change in the society as it is? The challenges are too many, because the word change, in Tamil it is called matram, has got many connotations. For example, if I'm going to get transferred to another city, that's a change for me. If I'm getting a new job, that is a change for me. If I'm getting a new boss, that's a change for me. If I retire, I'm going to sit at home, that is a change for me. Somebody is getting married, going to in-laws house, that is a change for them. Therefore, change means many things to many people. And every time we are faced with these kinds of a change and challenges. In these circumstances, it is possible that we're afraid of change. Sometimes we welcome change. Sometimes we adapt ourselves to change. Sometimes we resist to change. In these circumstances, when we are not able to appreciate the situation and act accordingly, we get into stress. In these circumstances, we require some kind of a guidance from people who are experienced, especially divine personalities. Akka has dealt with this topic quite vividly in one chapter called Matram, Change, in the book called Nindri Nilaiberuga, which was published way back in 2000. This particular book, Nindri Nilaiberuga, has been my Bible right through the time it was written. And many a time I shared many of the topics on this book with Akka. And I told her this, every single chapter is so well linked to the other chapter. It is just the Bible for one to lead a personal life, yet remain spiritual. And she appreciated that you should be able to share this book with everyone whom we want to move. I have been sharing this book to everybody, not that Akka's other books are not relevant, but this is too relevant for people who are working, who are in employment, who are managing business, any other part of life. So this particular topic I thought would be supported by Akka's writing. And that chapter has been translated in English and shared with every one of you. And the chapter in Tamil was read out by one professor who is not known to Sampati at all. Mrs. Malathi Balakrishnan brought him, and he really rendered it beautifully. And that has also been shared with all of you. I thought now, last three satsangs, we had a random meeting. I sent a random note. One of the suggestions from some of the Nandajis was that, why don't we take one chapter of Akka and go para by para and discuss and understand and come to a conclusion. I thought that should be relevant, which we used to follow in Bangalore chapter for quite some time, right from Satya's days in 2013-14. I had requested Meena Ratnam to read this English translation, para by para, and the floor will be open to every one of us to contribute their ideas, their thinking, their take from the chapter or their guidance from the chapter. It will be quite interesting. We should be able to conclude maybe within an hour. That's that the attention span could be that much only for this kind of satsangs. If we are not able to complete it, we'll take it to the next satsang meeting. And if time permits, there is an interesting thing which I want to share with you. Many times in satsangs in Chennai, Akka, I used to ask somebody to give a recipe on something. I thought I'll share a recipe with you. Especially this recipe was a soup which was probably discovered, not invented, discovered after Akka's appearance as Siddha Lakshmi in 2014. And by 2014, in December or early 15, I decided, why can't we make a soup with pomegranate? Akka said, it is a welcome change. You please make it, I'm ready to taste and share it with you. Very first attempt, it proved to be very nice. And actually pomegranate represents rejuvenation. Change also represents rejuvenation. If time permits, I will share the recipe at the end of the presentation. Now over to Meena Ratnam for reading of the chapter. I can share the Word document on the screen. So can also go through that as and when Meena reads it. Thank you.
Shall I start?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. Change. There will be situations where we would not be able to bring about a change, though warranted. Instead of getting frustrated, we should accept the state of things. But when we are in a position to bring about a change, we should have the courage to implement it. We should develop the wisdom to recognize the difference between these two situations. Should I stop with this or?
Please stop there. and probably
Yeah.
people can reflect on that. I don't know if I'm able to share it. I tried doing it. Any take on this?
It's basically talking about accepting a situation, acceptance. When you can't change something, you should have the frame, a bent of mind to accept the situation.
Probably, before if there is no other comment, I would like to develop on this. This is the most important part of Indian
Hello,
philosophy.
may I speak?
Please, sure.
Yeah, actually, what happens is that we think that we are the doers. Once we are sure and we are confident that I am not the doer, God is the doer, He is getting the things done for me or through me. Then any change which occurs, which I am not able to control, okay, that is God's doing. I should accept it with this view. It never will be bad for an individual or a group. That is what I think.
Any other sharing? Please feel free to share, because it's very important that we get the ideas and views of everybody. No view is taken very lightly. Every view has got its own connotation and the sense of understanding experience from the person who is contributing. Nothing can be silly in this.
When we are trying to accept the change, it comes with a fear. How do we overcome the fear? In spite of knowing that Ambal is with us, Akka is with us, she is doing everything, there is a constant fear which comes, because any decision that you take is not only affecting you, but maybe it is affecting 200 other people. So how do we overcome that? Mama, this is Srikantesh from Hyderabad. And my question is directly with regard to the school. We are about to start online classes. We are about to start some new things. But the constant fear of children will not be able to uh, understand or learn with the smartphone is my strong feeling. But then if we don't do online classes, then it might have its own repercussion, because it is just a checklist as far as everyone else is concerned. Like the government is concerned, okay, are you doing online classes? It's just a checklist. So that constant fear of what would actually happen, I know this change is coming, and this particular topic is very important for me, uh, because this major change is going to affect the whole of the school, and any decision I take is going to affect maybe any decision that is taken or whatever happens. So this constant fear, how do we overcome fear when we want to accept the change, and what is the mantra that you go on chanting?
Okay. Anybody wants to answer that, or any other contribution?
I would like to answer. I'm Jayashree. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. We should not be worried about how the children will react, because I'm sure children will be more apt to change than us. So children will definitely accept your new situation much better than, because their conditioning is much, much lesser than what we have. So the fear is for recontation, not for the children. So that's what I feel.
Right, nice. Any other feedback?
I would like to say something. See, actually, whenever we start something new,
Can you be louder?
yeah, whenever we start something new, so I think that time we have fear in our mind, as Mrs. Ravindran said. I agree with her, because we don't know how the opposite people, they are going to accept. We have so many like questions in our mind. So I think positively we have to take it, and we have to accept the change and try to do new things. I feel that.
What I suggest is that very, very relevant questions. we are just at the first 4 lines of this particular contribution by Akka. All your questions you can find as we go through the chapter. The first 4 lines are very, very basic philosophy flowing from India and reiterated in Bhagavad Gita also. We need to be wise. There are situations which we think we should change. There are situations, though we want to change, we will not be able to change them. But there are situations which we can change. We can adapt ourselves. We should have the courage to make those changes.
Sir,
The
sorry.
understanding between what can be changed and what cannot be changed, and praying God to give the conviction and courage to change what I should change, what I can change. Now, coming back to this question, now this change is not voluntary. This change is created by circumstances. There's a coronavirus. People are afraid of going out, and this one online has become an important thing. This is the change where we should adopt ourselves. This change cannot be resisted. Now, the whole thing is that we'll have to start somewhere. If you're going to be afraid, you will never be able to do anything. The first step we should take, maybe out of the 140 children, if we're able to get 3 children on board, and they're able to adapt to the new style, the 3 children can learn another 4 children. Children are much easier to adapt to new things rather than elders. We should trust Sri Akka and the children's ability to learn and try to do something. There could be challenges in terms of making available systems for children. That is a different challenge. That requires money. That requires somebody to contribute computers, or they can share computers in 1 or 2 places with the social distancing. That we'll have to list out what are the hurdles. But we should go and make this change because there is no other choice. Can you proceed?
Can I say I'm Nirmala?
Yeah, please.
There was the same fear in my school as Sri Kantesh was asking, because we have a lot of students who doesn't have supportive this one. So many parents, they are vendors and other people are all mixed up because of the RTE. But they are doing well now as gradually the fear is gone, and they are training, and weekly audio classes are there, and video is also sent even for the preschoolers also. So the middle section, of course, a little bit struggling will be there in the beginning, both sides for the teachers and the parents. But parents are instructed by the common through the video, and then the audio messages and call the instructions are going by preparing every week. So weekly lessons are sent for them. So there should be little spade work at what they need, and then they can do it. By placing it in front of Akka, they can start it.
Actually, there is an answer to this question at the fag end of this article by Akka, where she says that sometimes society itself wants to change. Then it is easy to make the change. Society doesn't want the change, you can't do anything about it. Now the society needs the change by compulsion or by choice. Meera can produce the next paragraph.
Yeah.
Do you want me to share the document?
Yeah, you can do that because my name will do it from a computer.
Yeah, I'll do it.
So that people can read it.
Yes.
Though change is constantly happening, the same by and large is an artificial effect. Enormous efforts are being made to control this change. The only natural change is the birth of human beings and his evolution.
I think an interesting para. I invite comments on this. It has got an immense meaning from my point of view.
Is it that in this case we take the Almighty who is driving everything, in this case of human birth and changes and evolution?
Any other interpretation?
Yeah, Suresh, human birth takes off from where he had left in the previous Janma, and throughout his lifetime, he is either evolving or devolving. So in that sense, this change, what you see can be an artificial effect if he has not evolved. And enormous efforts are made to control this change, because the change in the human birth happens very, very slowly. With a lot of effort, small changes are observed.
So the way I, Ms. Manikandan here, the way I'm seeing here is like, two different aspects, right? The natural change and an artificial change, right? So the change which cannot be controlled and which is not in our control is the natural change. Like how we are born, we will get aged at some point in time slowly, and we'll evolve over time, and those changes cannot be controlled from the physical aspect of it. But all other changes which happen, which are controllable in some form or the other, are all into the artificial changes, which are kind of man-made.
This is Balakrishnan here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we are hearing you.
Yeah. See, nothing can be static. Everything is changing gradually. Some are perceived, some are not perceivable. That is the basic thing. But what we perceive, whether we accept it or don't accept it, again comes the difference in people's opinion and point of view.
Any other thought?
I'm Radhika from Pune. I would like to add up here. If we see the change as an opportunity, especially my points would be with regard to what Srikantesh has put up with respect to education. If we see this change as an opportunity for empowering our students, I think we will get some ideas to go in that regard. Because so far, it was only a teacher standing with a chalk in her hand and thrusting the knowledge into the student's mind. But if in this present scenario, we empower our students to learn by themselves, I think we stand as a facilitator here, and this change, we can expect a better adaptability to it. This is my idea.
Any other contribution?
Santanam here. Are you able to hear?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm quoting from my own personal life. 15 years back, I was transferred to Bhopal. It was too sudden for me. And I was fighting. There's a lot of turmoil at my home. The change was not acceptable to any of them. Why should you go? Why should it happen now? Then there was a time for me to join there. Then in between, I talked to Shriyaka. I went to Trichy, I talked to my father. My father said, you take your decision, I'm not able to do. Then I decided to talk to Akka from Trichy on phone. Then she said, you go alone. And then we'll see later. Then I went there, I just didn't think. Once she told, then I thought I'll go. I went there, there's a lot of emotional upheaval and all that. Then after 6 months, I came back to Chennai for some function, then I met her. I was really fighting within myself and then fighting tears. And then I met Akka at that time, Shekha at the time, and then asked her, why should you make me go away from my family and all that? She only told one thing. I started blaming people and all that. Then she told, don't blame anybody. You will realize why you have been changed now to that place only later. Forget everything and then just surrender and then go. That gave a lot of relief to me. And after a few years, then I could see what things were there in store for me because I went there. There are very good changes were there. So this is what I thought I will share.
Shankar Mama, can you elaborate on what does this artificial effect mean? I'm not able to understand that. Okay. Does it mean that there is no change at all and everything is just a superficial stuff that we are seeing?
Bang on the point, this one. The whole thing is that there seems to be a certain amount of conflict or contradiction or incongruity about the way we understand change and what occurs is described. He is very clear that though there is a constant change, as Balakrishnan said, it is constant change. But these are all artificial. And we try to make changes. To take a simple example, Corona is an artificial change. It is man-made for whatever reason. It is synthetic or this, or it is man-made, whatever you talk about it. And like that, we have destroyed environment. We are unable to get rain. So the change which we created artificially, it has got its own unsavory effects which we want to control. So this is what occurs. There are change forced by people's thinking artificially. These are not God-made changes, man-made changes. These are artificial. The only natural change what she talks about is the birth of a human being and his evolution. Very fact that one has to be born as a human being after being born as animals, insects, plants, whatever you are talking about, it's the first evolution that I have taken birth as a human being. But as a human being, am I evolved, or I'm still carrying my instinct of the last birth? It could be an animal, God knows. Therefore, this evolution is what we call is an important change. Akka probably focuses on external change are there to see. You are supposed to handle that. You cannot handle external change unless there is an evolution within you. Therefore, the focus is you and not somebody else. So this is probably what she wants to mean, so that we take the burden of involving in the change, accepting, rejecting, or being the cause or being the follower. Probably once you go into another couple of paragraphs, you'll get more answers to this. Meera, can you continue?
Yeah.
The thinking, two paragraphs together. They are similar in nature.
Okay. The thinking of two men is more often not aligned or similar. Each one has his own logic and justification for his ideas or thoughts. While justice can be just one, depending on the argumentative ability of those who can justify their own views, even justice gets fragmented and takes several hues. One's opinion cannot be forced to prevail in the guise of building consensus. At the same time, without alignment and building of consensus, no idea can accomplish a noble and higher ideal. We can ponder over and evaluate each idea calmly and dispassionately. We can also discuss if there is commitment to such dictum.
I think these two paragraphs are very important for our day-to-day life. People can throw light on this.
Yeah, Suresh Rao, yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Two men definitely cannot be aligned because the subtler content of each one of, when I say subtler content, the evolution of each one is different from the others. So definitely there will be no alignment in the thinking of the each individual with others. Now in this, but when we want to do it in a group, then we need to build a consensus. So, but in this case, you cannot force somebody's opinion as the consensus. So in that case, for the sake of a higher ideal, there has to be a dispassionate discussion, and for that higher ideal, one has to accept. Whoever is closer to that higher ideal, his opinion should be considered.
This is Balakrishnan here. As if no two persons agree, but when you come to a point of consensus, two important qualities are required. One is acceptance, another is tolerance. Without these two factors, nobody can come together and achieve anything in producing any worthwhile good changes.
Two people. Can I?
Yeah, please.
Two people might have the same goal, but might have their own agenda to achieve it. Then, in spite of the goal being same, like maybe somebody wants a name, for example, like, okay, my name should come when I achieve this particular goal. So then this thinking might not match. So if we are out of, like, if we want to achieve the goal and that alone is our uh, focus, then maybe consensus might come in that. And then like somebody else also said, uh, uh, you'll be able to achieve something because the goal is common and you don't have any personal agenda.
Very interesting.
Can I come in, Shankar?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, come.
I feel that the main impact is you must approach any problem with an idea of being willing to accept an opposite view, even if it doesn't match with yours, and come with an open mind to find the justice, as you call it. So both the parties do it, it is possible. But human nature, it is difficult unless one cultivates a habit of listening than talking.
Absolutely bang on. See, this is what Akka talks as evolution. Just, give in our own scriptures, the whole thing is that there are two people. Very simple thing, there are two people. First, I know I am entitled to love myself, but I should realize that the other person is also entitled to love himself. The next is, I'm entitled to love my idea, but I should also appreciate that the other person is entitled to his idea, entitled to love his idea. Now, therefore, we sit together and understand each other's idea dispassionately and come to a consensus, which is my idea is accepted or his idea is accepted, or a blend of these, or a totally three new idea emerges. Therefore, it becomes a common idea. We are able to take it forward. This is where, how do we remove conflicts on a day-to-day life? To remove conflict, as Jayaraman said, I must first evolve myself in a position to listen to other people and appreciate on its merits rather than trying to say whether it has come from A or B. What I am going to focus is on the issue and not on the person. In fact, in the same book, Akka talks about the art of listening. Gavanamaga Kurd, that comes in the last 4 or 5 chapters, if I remember right. You are right. I should be able to listen. So the whole thing is talking about is that this is the first point of revolution. To be able to see the other's point of view and sit together, discuss, and come to a common plan. Without a common plan, we will never be able to achieve anything, whether in home or at an office or in government, as much as in politics. We can proceed to the next para. Meena?
Yeah, Meena, you can actually on your video and you can talk.
Okay.
Whoever wants to speak, they can just on video and they can talk.
Right.
We are relaxing on the bed.
Satsang is for relaxed.
We need.
Please, Saryam, please.
Yeah. We need not long for a change that cannot be brought about, nor should we be disappointed. It is a compulsion of time and circumstances. We have no choice but to accept this reality and move forward. Should I go to the next or stop here?
Yeah, please go ahead, because this we already have contemplated upon.
Yeah.
We cannot
Yeah.
force anything. Yeah, correct.
Once there is a general realization that there is a need for change and others look forward to it, we should not deter. We should not allow our energies to sag. Action born out of 100% commitment and courage alone will lead to fruition of our dreams.
I think this is an important thing. This answers Srikanth's question, I suppose.
Yes, and in this, I would like to give one example, which was uh, uh, where Ambal guided me. In one of in my office initially 15 years back, I would go on mentoring a lot of my team members, And in spite of doing a lot of mentoring, they would never realize the values of that. And I would be very disturbed. And once I came to Akka and I told, I'm not doing my duty well because in spite of me mentoring them, they are not able to listen, or they don't listen to me, or they don't understand what I'm telling. She said, அங்க வந்து பாச்சி இருக்குன்னு சொல்லியாச்சு, அதுக்கு மேல வந்து அவ வந்து if they like there is algae, you have already told that it's slippery, and if they are not listening to you, it's your duty to tell. But then if they don't listen and keep their leg on that, they'll slip and fall down, and then they'll realize what you have told. So that way the change is like they try to understand that they have to change by their own experience.
Any other contribution?
I think the key words here is courage and energy. So when you feel, when you're really not up to the change, then what you really need is the courage and drive to carry it out when you have no choice.
And that's basically, we talk about 10% commitment, because if there is a 100% commitment from you and there is a courage, because what happens is in this situation, what Akka talks about it, you become a change agent. For example, if take the same school as Madhuri Vidya Bhavan, Srikantesh becomes a change agent. A change agent cannot dither. Once you can take a while to take a decision, you would also build a larger amount of consensus, because that's a large people are there, you have a consensus. Thereafter, the most important thing is that you should go through this process. Don't take a U-turn. This is very, very important to understand, because many times we start something and stop in middle. And we are in a much worse position than we started. Therefore, Akka says that you have a steadfast approach and go and complete the change. Don't worry about what is happening here and there. Any other contribution? Dr. Kannan, you can also come in. You are a great philosopher.
It's been a nice experience, because wherein different people, they not only come out with their words of wisdom, but they have been advised by Akka. That is very important, because that spiritual guidance of Akka, of Sri Akka, is very important, because that is the only thing which sets us apart from the Western management. Because this change management we have been studying ever since our graduation and post-graduation, things like. But here there is a spiritual dimension to that. We submit to the Lord, and as rightly said by Akka, there are 6 modifications. 2 things, because time is not there, I don't want to take much, I want to listen, because the Veda says, Bhadram karnebhi shrunuyama devaha. First one, as you said, we should develop the art of listening. Therefore, if I know, I should not be simply telling whatever I know. And another thing, karna abhyam bhuri vishruvam. That means you should hear. The ear should be full. That it should be open. That is why we have an eyelid to cover the sight, but you don't have an earlid, because you have to keep it open. Because that good news can come from a young person, it can come from an old person, it can be from anyone. Therefore, see, whatever Akka said, I am only releasing because the thought process. See, there are 6 modifications of the human body. Asti, jayate, vardhate, and then finally vinashyati. 6 patients. Therefore, every time you are there, and then you came, and then you just vanished. See, life is not a process; it is a project. There is a start time, there is an end time. The Veda says, Yoso tapati sarvesham bhutanam prana nada yodeti mame prajayama pashun. What it says is, sun rises. It is rising by taking the life of all the beings by one day. Similarly, when it sets, also one day is over. When you celebrate your birthday, you are working towards the expiry date. Therefore, within the limited time, what we have to do, it is what to be understood. And Sri Akka's efforts, because if you say orally also, there could be some free flow here and there. When it is written, it is like the Sutram, like Gita, Bhagavad Gita. It is written in a format wherein people can think slowly. They can take the book and then contemplate and then try to reflect, because that is the difference between the intelligence and intellect. Intellect is looking Therefore, there is a contemplation and also and a repeated understanding of what is to be done. Therefore, and now even great Swamiji say there is a fall of the human intellect. Intelligence is there. We get many things from computers, from internet and things like that. Now, coming to this one, it is an excellent thing wherein change how to face fear. Veda says, Bhishasmat vatah pavate bhishodeti suryaha. Even the sun rises with the fear of the Supreme. Therefore, if you submit to the Lord, then abhayam pratiktam. Therefore, the abhayam is given by the Lord. The abhayam is given by the Guru. Therefore, when we submit to the Guru and to Sri Akka and her guidance, we will not have any fear. We will not have any fear. That's a life will be a smooth one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just to give an introduction, Dr. Kannan, as first time joining us, he has seen Akka a couple of times and he has got a whole blessings. And the various Gayatris and Akka, when formatted, he put them into the proper meter and things. And he really has a blessing of Akka. He is a scholar in Rig Veda and has done a PhD on that. That's why I invited him to join this, because we need some more fresh air from outside who are a lot more, learned than us, so that we gain from their experience. We can move to the next para, Meena.
The realization that there is need for change is a turning point. That there is no such need for change is an opinion or a decision. At times, the distance between the two can be thin or very wide. While we do need a cool breeze, we should not get frozen in cold comfort.
This is an important paragraph. I think we can spend a few minutes on this.
Hello, this is Jayashree.
I was breaking, please.
Yeah. Here, the question is, I mean, from our cold comfort, because we don't want to leave our comfort zone, because we are not courageous enough. That is why Akka put courage in the previous. It is the courage to come out of our safe zone and to try something new. Only then you can bring a change. So the cold zone length எனக்கு ரொம்ப சௌக்கியமா இருக்குன்னா அந்த சௌக்கியத்தை விட்டு நம்ம வெளியில வரதுக்கு மனசு விரும்பல, because we want to stay safe. So that is the reason why we resist change.
Hello.
Yeah, please carry on.
I think first point is you can't remain static and survive. There must be, first you must accept that there is going to be a change within yourself, which is most important, and outside, as long as you consider yourself as an individual, is also going to change. So if you trying to remain without taking any step forward, you're only leading yourself to disaster. You cannot remain stagnant in a moving body. I think the next paragraph also very clearly says nothing can remain permanent. So when the change is there, it's much better to work with the change than try to avoid making decisions or moving away.
Excellent point, Jairam. If there is any other thought?
Dr. Balakrishnan here.
Yeah.
The point which comes here is that when we accept the change, the change comes gradually, it's more easily acceptable than if it's a drastic change. The standing example is demonetization. When it came overnight at midnight, it produced so much of hardship. So the change has to be gradual, and then the acceptance becomes more easy. That's what she says.
Any other view?
Yeah, I'd like to tell my take on this. I'm Mandar here. So I'd start off with a quote I've read. So there's a quote which says, change is the only constant in life. So I can kind of relate it to this paragraph. So Basically what happens is in today's changing world, we also do need to change and we need to adapt and we need to overcome. So that's where it comes from. And also what can happen is sometimes we are really resistant to change. We don't want to change, or sometimes we are afraid of the same as well. So what happens is while we do need a kurbi, so what I feel that means is sometimes we are reluctant to change. We might not make some small changes, but what happens is if we keep going on the same track, then we might not reach anywhere. We need to make certain changes which we are comfortable with, or which might put us out of our comfort zone as well.
That's why I say that you first adopt the change and then adapt yourself, then your comfort zone.
The good thing is, I have 2 points of view on this particular paragraph. There are 2 things. One is that me with me, then me with the world. Me with the world is that demonetization, corona, change of place. Me with the world is something we have to handle as a part of this one. Now, me with me is that there is a relation that I need to change. But there is also another devil in my side. Please don't change. You be where you are. Better to remain status quo. Status quo is the disease of 90% of us. Now what happens is that this is like a frog. If you put a frog into boiling water, it jumps out. If you put a frog into warm water and keep the heat at a very slow speed, it dies. This is called cold comfort. Nothing will happen to me. I am nicely warmed. I am in the same place. Nothing going to change. But I'm talking about internal change here. Therefore, I will die. I'll die out of my own volition by not willing to change myself. Therefore, when Akka talks about in the entire paragraph, he talks about a change with the external circumstances and a change within yourself. That's what she called the permanent, the real changes, a natural changes in a human being from himself to himself, from a lower personality to a higher personality and evolved personality. If no other contribution, we can go to the next paragraph.
Santan here, can I make one small contribution? Actually, now this demonetization was mentioned. I just share something what happened due to demonetization on me. Actually, it happened on 8th November. We are supposed to leave to Ayodhya and this thing for a trip along with some people at Delhi. So I saw the news in the TV. Immediately I was set back because I can't carry. I didn't have cash that time. But it know a lot of cash dispersal at different points of time. There are a group of 70, 80 people. Then immediately, I thought I'll adapt to the change. I immediately rushed with the 4 cards to 4 different ATMs. Drew some 1,500 was the amount allowed at each point of time. Then in the meanwhile, from Delhi, they text me, can each of you bring some cash and all that. Then when I told I'm having 6,000 cash, it was a big relief for them. But it so happened wherever I went, in the trip lasted about 7 to 8 days. Whenever I wanted cash, the cash was available. Whenever they wanted, I could give. Let it be in a Delhi airport, or I met somebody, I asked them, can you spare some 5,000? They immediately gave. The thing is that when we are adopting change, the results are shown by themselves. Thanks.
Thank you. Can we move on? Meena?
Yeah. Nothing can remain permanent except change. Change is the only constant in this world. Change is a continuous process and not an event. It is a journey and not a destination. As time moves, I'll stop?
Yeah, please carry on. Carry on.
As time moves, nature causes changes in a regular pattern. These changes are known as seasons. Yet sometimes, there does occur some irregularity in these seasons. We name them as cyclones, earthquakes, floods, drought, and so on.
Is this an odd paragraph out, or it has got relevance to earlier paras of Akka?
I think one more paragraph, you read it, become complete.
Sure.
As time moves, change by itself is not wrong as long as it takes place in the right direction towards the right goal. Not everyone has a liking for or is comfortable with committing wrong. Mostly circumstances, wrong associations, and absence of application of independent mind become the cause for such wrongs. Any change in attitude with respect to these causes is welcome and should be appreciated.
I think we can talk on this.
Kalyani, can you please scroll?
I think one paragraph before, I think. Hey, Srikant, are you able to read that?
Yeah, I can read it. Can I start?
Yeah, please.
See, this thing is very, very clear. The change I think she's referring to is not so much the external changes. Surprising or otherwise, you know you have to do it. But the change within, how do you view such changes? It is a change within the self that is most important. The rest of the thing, then events happen as if they are some images passing by. So it is a journey and not a destination. All the external events will be just one more milestone in your period of life. But the change within, as to how you look at these changes and how you change yourself, is the most critical thing. And it is absolute. You have to change. If you do not change your attitude, how you look at yourself, I think the entire thing also indicates that the journey is a journey within. That is the journey that is most important than the journey outside.
Any other input?
Yes, Suresh, yeah. The first sentence is very important. The change itself is not wrong as long as it takes in the right direction. As long as it is for your evolution, it is good. You don't devolve. You don't get into from sattva to rajas, not the other way. You get from rajas to sattva. You climb. That's very important. Is that the change should happen in the right direction.
Any other connect?
Kalyani, you may have to scroll a bit. I'm not able to see this paragraph. The last paragraph, change by itself is not wrong. I'm not able to read that.
See, one point I can say is that what is right direction is again an individual's perception. That's where the difference of opinion comes in this, accepting or not accepting the change. So the word right direction can be ambiguous from very person to person.
Srikantesh, can you see now?
Thanks. This mode helps.
Yeah.
Generally, right direction is felt. Now, for example, someone moves from a bad health to a good health. He knows that he has moved from a bad condition to a good condition. That is immediately felt within. Similar is the status, whether you have moved to the right direction is by what is known as a stress factor. Is your stress factor reducing? Are you less and less agitated in mind? If you are less agitated in the mind, you are moving in the right direction.
Probably, I'll just take one take on this. First, we'll understand there is a saying that there are only three constants in the world: death, taxes, and change. That's what occurs. That change is a journey and not a destination. It keeps on going. She talked about in between changes in climate. Changes in climate, by and large, they are very regular. You have a summer, you have a fall season, you have a spring season, you have a rainy season, and so on. But when there is a disturbance happens, we get floods, we get earthquakes, everything. We can draw conclusions in two ways. For example, if it is too sunny, I can take an umbrella and walk out. If it is too rainy, also I can take an umbrella and walk out. Umbrella is common for both. The umbrella is God's grace. There are turbulences, I need to take that umbrella to protect myself. Likewise, when there is a balance in nature changes, it causes earthquake, it causes flood, it causes drought. Same way, a man who is out of balance creates turbulences for himself. Therefore, this is very important to understand why these turbulences come in. So we are talking about external influences here. When the external influences are there, you must be able to understand whether to take the change or not to take the change. It's a very simple thing. I can talk about a simple thing, drug abuse. Everybody's children is studying in the school today. They can be lewd. For example, for the sake of entertainment, if I suppose indulge in drug in one day, that change, the goal is neither right, even the direction is not correct. Therefore, I should, even if I allude into it, I should be able to get out of it. This is the one thing. Therefore, I have to change myself. I should not be shy of that. For example, I am in a society where these rave parties are common. The moment I take a decision, I have to move out of the rave party, I have a problem. I'm looked down upon as something who is not modern at all. Therefore, I have to change. Now, for example, if I have to change, I have to change. The goal is that to stay away from drugs. Now, the direction to do that, what it is. Drug is very bad, let me take alcohol. That is not the right direction. Alcohol is not good, let me start smoking to get relaxation. The whole thing is that you want to move from a bad habit to a good habit. I'm just taking a very basic example. Therefore, the goal is very good. The direction, the path you want to follow also should be good. It's very simple that no, if I got a good goal, I should have good means. Means should justify end and not end. The end should not justify means. The very simple thing Akka has put in a few paragraphs for us to think, because the way Akka writes things is that she doesn't give the entire answer herself. She makes you think and find the answer yourself. If I find the answer myself, I'm convinced, therefore I follow it. If somebody forces an answer to me, I don't want to accept it because I have not applied my mind. Next, you can move, I suppose.
One should be delighted with such change in attitude. One should be steadfast in sustaining that delight, as such change alone brought him the boon of honor and glory. Having turned a new leaf, one should not coil back and return to the old ways, old wrong ways. This is related to the earlier thing what you just said. So, should I stop or should I go on to the next?
We'll see whether there is any further input on that.
Is it that she's trying to tell that once you change with a lot of difficulty, like for example, losing weight, you undergo a change, but then you should stick to it, something like that here, because you don't stick to it, then you get back to your old ways and then you become obese once again.
Basically, what my take is that though it looks a very simple thing, that the changes of two types. One is like a spring. I coil back and get back to where I was, which is dangerous. Another change is a transformation, which is called transformation, not just change. That in a transformation, you never coil back. Now, you just look at the heading, change, and there is a picture given by there. It's a picture of a chicken coming out of an egg. You understand that is transformation. From an embryo to a bird, it's a transformation. From a caterpillar to butterfly, it's a transformation. Once I become a butterfly, I cannot become a caterpillar. Once I become a chick, I cannot become an egg once again. This is where that don't coil back. You have made a change in your lifestyle, you have made a change in your attitude, stay there. Because as human beings, we have got the opportunity to get back where we started. Only human being has this problem of wavering of mind. Therefore, you should be able to steadfast. I have changed. I enjoyed the benefits of the change. Therefore, I should sustain that. Therefore, I am a transformed person. Take the same egg. If I break it, I can make an omelette at best. I can eat it, I can share it. But and I end a life actually. When I break an egg, I end a life. But if the head acts by itself, a life comes out. Therefore, when there is a permanent change in me, a new life is born, a new Shankaran is born. That's what Akka says, that the only natural change is the evolution of human being. From I'm a caterpillar, I should become a butterfly. That is the evolution I'm talking about. We can probably proceed if there is no other comment.
I think Manjula wants to speak. Our
Sure.
school principal, Manjula. She had raised her hand in between.
Sure.
Manjula, are you there? Okay, I think Meena can proceed further.
Change is the sole tool and the right path for one to evaluate himself to evolve higher and higher. Transformation and evolution at the individual level at some points in time will lead to the society itself realizing the need for change, transformation and evolution at the societal level. At such times, there will be popular support for change. While such popular support is welcome, it should not just stop with mere wish, but should be exhibited in participating in the action plan for bringing about the change. Apathy or staying in the sidelines or just remaining a vocal critic or appreciator is not at all acceptable and is of no use.
Any comments on this?
Yeah, this is a very nice thing. Like for example, when I look at uh, like this paragraph, the present situation and the school, I would invite people to come up with ideas and help us give more ideas rather than just commenting or criticizing that we didn't start or started. This is very nice. I'll contemplate on this and I'll seek a lot of support. And even anyone in the group here feels anything we can do for the school, please do write down to me. Thanks, Mama. This is really good.
Any other take?
I think
One point.
sorry, should I? Somebody else is talking.
Oh, sorry. This Jairam here. Can I go on?
Please.
Yeah. I think the paragraph is very clear, but the most important point is the last line. Apathy or staying in the sidelines. This is what I call as armchair communists or armchair intellectuals is of no use, and it can only bring about something worse than what is already happening. I'm sure Sri Kantesh would be getting a lot of such advice. He has to just learn to ignore it. So you can't remain just a critic or a spectator. A person who doesn't open his mouth is as guilty as a person who does wrong. In fact, more guilty than a person who does wrong. I think that last line is the most critical part of this statement, paragraph.
Yeah, there cannot be any disagreement on that, actually. Because with the popular support, we should take the courage and start moving it. But the whole thing is that I appreciate, let us take the same thing, like, for example, Andalala, we want to do Annadanam. Yes, very good Annadanam. But we should take the ability to, what I can say, the effort and maybe the trouble if necessary to go and distribute the people. Okay, Sandala is doing very good. I am part of it, therefore everything could do, because then we become spectators. Where is our participation? Manusha Seva is very important. There's one important evolution in our thinking, that I should evolve to understand the troubles of other people, and then there is a change in myself. Therefore, I go and help. This is a very important thing. When there is a consensus, what is the point in staying away and only appreciating other people or criticizing the efforts taken? So these are things which probably, it's an everyday aspect. And importantly, as Jairam said, it has to be an internal change. Therefore, we don't become spectators, we become participants in change. If not, we are the mover of the change.
I also got another point on this, that instead of trying to change anything or anybody else, if you look at yourself and change and evolve yourself, then it brings about a change in the society. That's what she's saying in the first 3 sentences. So it's important for the individual. So the individual is a representation of the society. So that's the point.
It's an excellent point, because I remember I was struggling with a transformation at some point in time, 20 years back. I developed blood pressure. I had a chance to talk. It's very impossible, difficult to bring change about. He said only one thing: you can influence. You cannot take responsibility for other people changing. You have done your part. The whole thing is that if you want to influence somebody, you have made the change yourself. First of all, you must make the change in you, the change you want to see in somebody else. We have done that. At the same time, the moment you are in a position of a change management, you cannot expect miracles from the other side. It's a very long process. You expect returns very fast in changing the attitude of other people. How long you take? You could have taken 1 year. Somebody is less evolved, you do not have a car to guide him. You'll take 10 years. Understand that, wait for those 10 years. It's very important for you. Before you can try to change others, you change yourself. Second, you have the patience to ensure that your influence is complete and it is made at the right point in time, so that you can see the change in the other side also. It's very important.
One example here, personal example. Okay, this is prompted by Prabha, my mother. Okay, initially the teachers would come very late in the school. Our timing is 8 o'clock. Assembly starts at 8:30. So we would have all the teachers come at only at 8:30 or 8:45, even after the assembly has started. We did have a headmistress and things were like going on. And I was not too very happy about it. So then one day Amma said, why don't we change ourselves? Let us leave home at 6:45 in the morning. It was not a very easy thing for me, but then we did change it, and then that became regular, and then we got all the teachers on time. So that's we need to change ourselves first before we expect something from others.
Yeah, before becoming a preacher, you must be a person who puts into practice.
You're right. Right.
Can carry on the next thing.
Success reflects the progress. Progress reflects the change. Expansion of one's life from the cocoon is proportionate to the courage and commitment put in by one to bring about the change.
Can do the next paragraph also there.
It's moving too fast. Scroll is moving too fast. Yes, now it is correct. Thank you.
Sagging spirits impair motivation. Any effort to act is felt as a burden and life tastes bitter. Lack of motivation destroys the ability to act effectively. Mere impulse or intention to attain something in a short time cannot achieve anything. It only reflects impatience and anxiety.
Any thoughts on this?
Can I?
Yeah, please.
I think in simple language, I think Saka has told me several times, there are no shortcuts to God, there are no shortcuts to success. First, there is continuous hard work and you have to move in. And the sagging spirit is something which you have to motivate yourself, even though things might be going wrong, apparently wrong for you, as you see it, but it has to be a non-flagging and not hitting you physically, and be able to say, look, I have got up, done what I can do for the day, and I go to sleep. Now, exact words she said, every night you just go to sleep peacefully. Tomorrow is another day. So this is the attitude. Don't bother about whether things are working or not working. Get up, face every challenge, do whatever you can at that point, and then learn to detach yourself and go back to sleep, as she says, and start the next day again with the same effort. So this is very clear that you have to motivate. That motivation has to come from within, and it has to be continuous, it has to be sustained, and there must definitely be hard work. Nothing is going to come on a platter. Maybe once in a blue moon it might land up. There may be one Ravana rishis, but there are millions of us who will not be able to do anything. So we have to work towards it. I think that is how I understand this.
I think there cannot be any other opinion about it. Any other input on this?
Yeah, it reminds me of the few years back we had homams, and then sahaja yoga is what we said. What has to happen is sahaja, that is in the normal course of evolution, it has to happen. And if we are impulsive on it, it only creates
Bluetooth speaker power on. Waiting for pairing. Bluetooth connected.
Hello?
Yes. Back to normal.
Okay. I think there was a disturbance in his phone, I guess.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah. Can I say it again?
Yes, please.
Yeah. We had an occasion few years back what Akka had said to do a homam, and then we had topic Sahaja Yoga. So this is where the achievement has to be it has to be gradual, not cannot be done in a jiffy, and you have to have patience and perseverance to achieve the whatever be your goal.
If there is no other comment, you can move to the next paragraph.
I have one experience to share on motivation. Years back, there was a project which I handled. I struggled very hard. I was not recognized. Then I did something else because that was very easy for me, and the company asked me to do. And I was given a spot bonus. I didn't like the spot bonus at all. I in fact very arrogantly went and kept it at Ambal's photo. And in my next visit, I went to Ambal and I told her, I don't want this. I struggled very hard for the previous project, which saved lakhs and lakhs of rupees, and they never even told my name. And this one, they've given. I didn't do anything, and they've given me a spot bonus. And Ambal looked at my face and she said, that is how God motivates you. And she said, to motivate, you should, like Jalarama Mama said, like you self-motivate yourself. She said, "Nammale name tatti ilpinde mele poindirukano." So there are times when we might go low, but we should pat our own back and move ahead.
I think I also have a point in this to say that success and progress is not something that happens overnight. So the change is happening incrementally, and we have to wait with patience. Every action is going to add to that, and maybe at some point in time we will see the success. So it's not going to happen like overnight. That's one takeaway from this paragraph.
Yeah, carry on, Prabhu.
Changes are the fountainheads from which innovation springs continuously. Freshness and novelty flows. We should keep re-innovating ourselves, changing ourselves, and adapting ourselves. This is the simplest way to refresh and rejuvenate ourselves every now and then. One's life that has never come across any change or resisted any change will be rendered useless, just like a desert that has never seen rains.
Any take on this?
I can only quote a proverb: if a man has not faced failure, he cannot succeed in life.
Absolutely.
So that can be another short way of explaining that without change, there is no person at all. That's about all.
Basically, you were supposed to refresh yourself. I remember in one of Akka's other books, which was published somewhere in 2013-14, if I remember right, she quoted a real experience. a person's, a shopkeeper's shop was burnt totally. And actually, he went for a marriage and came back and saw that place, and there was nothing left. He's lost all his inventory, he has lost all his money, everything, and he not even had an insurance for that. But he found a board somewhere which was written in his shop. It says that, I have lost all my wealth, I have lost all my shop, but I have I have not lost one thing, that is belief in God. I will come back, I'll spring like a phoenix from the ashes. So that's what he says, that the spring is that the spring of faith in yourself, faith in God. That is very important. We must keep refreshing ourselves by having faith in God and belief in ourselves, so that we face changes very easily. There is no comment. You can move to the next paragraph.
If we desire completeness, Purnatvam, in any of our actions, we should from time to time change our process of action within the contours of righteousness. It is possible that an act of today can create stagnation in the following day. Keen observation followed by appropriate course correction will endow us with the capability to accomplish.
Any take on this?
Here, the most important message I feel is that nothing is static. It has to move and it keeps changing. With that gives you an idea of new innovative to proceed further. But once you realize that you are in the wrong direction, you must have the courage to turn around and restart from the beginning to progress further. So you should not be static, or you should not get absolutely disappointed and disillusioned and stop, because change has to occur. But if you are not in the right direction, introspect, then come back and restart all over again.
I think there's one more thing. It's not a question of right direction. You may be going the direction, but in life, you always have options. You pick up what you think is the right option today, and you find that it is not really going to taking you forward at the speed that you want. Then you must have the courage to say, can I try another option? Will that be better? This introspection is very important, because suppose you go by a dictum and then you follow the same direction. Yes, you might move forward, but you'll move at a slower speed. If you're ready to introspect and change courses and change the options, and as long as you're on the righteous path, you will move it much faster, and that is continuously required. You must keep introspecting. Today need not be tomorrow. Sleep over today. Tomorrow is a new day. Begin fresh. It might be the same idea, it may be a better idea, but continuously we have to introspect and think on this.
That's why in our medical practice, if we get stuck without a diagnosis to approach the right direction, one of the dictums is throw away the case sheet, sit with the patient and start all over again, taking the history, examine once again, you may get a better solution.
Wish there were more doctors like that today.
So you go back to zero base and start with a fresh white sheet. Basically, because we are moving in a world where we are not a lone player. There are influences, there are other people. It's a dynamic situation. Therefore, what we think as correct today may not be correct tomorrow. What she says, observe very closely and then take course corrections at the right point in time, so that your progress is not unnecessarily stopped.
One point in this line which says keen observation followed by appropriate course correction. One example was there was a mantram which was printed, maybe 1,000 or 2,000, many copies, and that had a small correction. And when it came to Akka, and it was told to Akka, she said, we'll have to throw this off because the mantram itself is wrong now. And she told involvement in any action was very important, even if you delegate it. So like if we had involved in when they were printing it for that correction or whatever, instead of just delegating it would have been easy. We could have corrected there itself there was course correction, and then we would have been able to accomplish what we want rather than just dumping off what was printed. That was a very nice message for me to follow in office work or anywhere else.
Okay, I'll give you a slogan for that. Authority can be delegated, responsibility can never be.
Absolutely.
Just another point. What I think what Akka is trying to convey could be that the four purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Now, completeness is the moksha, righteousness is the dharma. Within the contours of the dharma, do your artha and kama. I think maybe that's the four purusharthas.
Correct. It applies to your evolution to moksha, or also evolution to be successful in the worldly life. The paths are the same, but the goals are different.
Yeah, Vasundhara here. Just I thought what I felt was the creation itself undergoes change with the pralaya coming in, wherein everything starts afresh. Maybe the change is required at the creation level too.
Yeah, this Akash words don't mean just one thing. They mean several things to several people.
Yeah.
There's no objection, you can progress. Meena?
Yeah, novelty is another dimension of change. Something new is always welcome. Innovation is the spirit that keeps scientific research going. Our minds do not want to live in the past forever. Yesterday is dead, tomorrow is new. The very word tomorrow should enthuse us to search for something new and fresh.
Can carry on.
Unambiguity in practice reflects the change in state of action. You want to go sentence by sentence because this is...
If there is any reflection, we can stop here.
I think it is straightforward, Shankar. You can finish those 5 points and then you will get a better feeling.
Okay.
So I'll read out all the points.
Yeah.
Okay. Unambiguity in practice reflects the change in state of action. End of wavering reflects the change in mind. Captivating, compassionate words reflect the change in attitude. Timely help reflects the change in thinking. Embellishing honesty reflects the change in character. Onset of compassion reflects the change to blossoming heart. Tranquility in humility reflects the change that unlocks the doors of grace. Let us keenly observe the changes. Let us hail them. Let us comprehend them. Let us become resolute. Let us evolve to greatness.
Any take on these last few lines?
I want your take on the first 6 points.
That is, unambiguity in practice reflects the change in state of action. End of wavering reflects the change in mind. Captivating compassion. See, the whole thing is that this is a multi-dimensional thing that has to move from an individual self-centered person. The moment he expands his horizon to cover some other people, maybe within his family, outside his society, it's talk about the broadening of your horizon from individual selves to the universe as a whole. So each one of these is a change that reflects your progress upwards.
And that is what Shankar, I wanted that. See, it's a state of change in action, change in mind, change in attitude, change in thinking, change in character, change to, that is changing to becoming more compassionate, changing, blossoming of heart, and change that unlocks the door of grace. So you're going step by step, all the changes.
All the change. This is a multi-dimensional.
So this summarizes the entire chapter.
Yeah, summarize the entire chapter in a way. So therefore, what she says, please observe the changes within yourself, within outside, and welcome those changes. Don't resist them. Adopt what is required for you. Understand those changes. Therefore, you are able to respond to those changes, or you become the change yourself. You become resolute. Once you think that you have to change something or change something else, change yourself, you be firm on that. Therefore, you become a great person.
Correct.
It's a step-by-step ladder.
Yeah.
This article was written by Akka way back in 2000. In 2012, Delhi Tamil Sangam wanted one article from us. She decided to look at change in a different context, and that follows in the next sheet.
So the take-home message is change is inevitable, and we have to move forward to improve ourselves as a better human being.
Correct. See, because you must know what to change. First of all, welcome change or resist change. Some changes you have to resist, some changes you have to welcome. And the Akka is talking about a lot of internal churning here, because external churning, she knows that you will be able to adapt, you will be able to succumb, but your internal conviction is more important.
Actually, from what Jayaraman ji said, it's a good, a very good way it's graded. Action, when you change your action, when your mind changes, your attitude changes, your thinking changes, and when your thinking changes, your character changes, your heart opens up, and when your heart opens up, grace blossoms. So I thought that's a very interesting way of looking at that.
That's why when Akka used the word, it is evolution she talked about. The natural evolution is in the human being, not in external circumstances. So this is what she's talking about. Internally, we have to make all these things.
So I read the extracts from the article.
Yeah. Interestingly, what happened, this particular next article was remained only with a few people. I had the manuscript of Akka with me, and I thought, this I'll add this to the this article.
Okay. We are confronted with many a thought. Okay, this is from the article Punidam Kutum Matram by Sri Akka. We are confronted with many a thought. We are not able to comprehend the cause and need for such thoughts. There is no guarantee that these thoughts will fulfill our desires, yet these very thoughts shape us.
Any take on this?
Your thoughts define you. That's so. If you control your thoughts, you can improve yourself. If you improve your thoughts, you become a better human being. Whether you like it or not, whether you do it by compulsion or by society, the good and bad thoughts shape what you are. So think positive. That's what I would conclude from this.
Also, there's another point that thoughts are not ours. We absorb these thoughts from the surrounding and the environment. So they don't originate actually from us.
So keep away from negative thoughts. That's what I meant. So think positive.
There is no guarantee that these thoughts will fulfill our desires. That means you may not be right. So that's where introspection and course correction is needed.
No. This I think is a very generic. This has nothing to do with everybody is thinking something or another. If you are not thinking, there are others who force you to think. So if the more you think positive, the better person you become. The next question is focusing on what is the correct thought to focus, I think. Now this, I think the first paragraph is very generic on we are surrounded by thoughts and depending on our frequency, we absorb good and bad. So let us think positive and improve ourselves.
Sir, the Vedas, they give you a sequence. What it says is, Tasmat yat purusho manasa bigachati tat vacha vadati tat karmana karoti. That means the first thing arises in the mind. Then that is expressed through an action. Further, it results in an action. Therefore, if the three things, the thought, speech, and action, they are aligned, then that is the best thing. He's a great person. But when some person says something, thinks something, manasyekam, vachasyekam, then he's a different person. It's an excellent thing because the man is made of only thoughts. So only one brief thing which I want to just touch upon is that everything is subject to change, but the substratum is not subject to change. That is the self. That is the soul within that. That is why it is known as Satchidanandam. Sat, Chit and Anandam. Sat means which is there in the past which is there, which was there in the past, which is there in the present, which will be there in the future. Therefore, the definition of this is beautifully given in the Atma Tattvam of Shankara. What he says, when you define Atma, he says, Avastha Traya Sakshi, that is one definition. Swapna, Jagrat and Sushupti is which is the Sakshi Bhuta, which is the witness consciousness for all the three things. Then Panchagosha Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, which has transcended these things. And then Panchagosha then after that we have the Turiya Avastha is what is there at the stage of realizing the Atman. Therefore, the Atma Tattvam is there in the past, present and future. Therefore, that has to be kept in view. That is a changeless substratum. Everything else is, see, that is why mind is subject to modification. Whereas the Atma is Nainam Chintanti Sastrani, Nainam Dagati Pavakaha. This just I wanted to say that. And the excellent definition for the Atma has been given only by Shankaracharya and not by anyone else. He has given a very beautiful, it's a bigger one, but due to paucity of time, I am just stopping with that. Thank you.
My take is, advice is to observe our thoughts. Since yourself, we have thought, observe them, we may not know the cause of it, we may not know what it is. If you read the next paragraph, you will understand why she wants us to observe the thoughts.
On this first one, I would like to share. Can I, or we go further and then come back?
Please.
Whenever I would meet Akka and speak to her, I would deeply be disturbed with a lot of thoughts which according to me were not right, would come in my mind. And this was very painful because you're trying to converse with the divine, and there is so many thoughts which are coming down in the way. And after a couple of meetings with her, then one day I told her that in spite of me trying to restrict to only positive things, when I speak to you, why do so many other thoughts come in my mind? Then she said, don't think that they are coming to your mind, think that they're going out of your mind. That relieved me a lot. And then she said, before you converse with the divine, have a glass of water, which will calm you down, and then you can speak. And I did follow that even now. So this was one example on when bad thoughts comes, okay, let your heart be light by thinking that it is just getting out of you.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Yeah. We know the gospel, think good alone. Try to erase the evil thoughts. Do circumstances aid us to follow this gospel? Yes, they do aid in majority of times. Yet, in order to test us, certain circumstances, not so conducive to stick to this gospel, have been created by the Almighty. I'll continue.
Go to the next paragraph. Yeah, please.
When such not so good circumstances or changes envelop us, we should take them as warnings that try to influence us to stray into undesirable paths. We should not succumb to such changes. Our self-consciousness will flourish when we scrupulously avoid adapting to such change.
You can read the next pair also, that completes the chain.
Yeah. Focus will ensure that we don't stray from the dictum to adhere to righteousness. We have gained from our education and experience various aspects of the right path and have put them into practice. Menocentric intellect tries to make changes. We may seek shortcuts and get trapped. When there is conviction, why experiment change at all? It will lead to distraction and confusion. We end up shifting the blame on God. This is absolutely wrong. Hence, we should be clear about what should not be changed.
We can reflect on these 4 paragraphs.
Okay, I take the lead. Can I?
Please, go ahead.
Yeah. first paragraph, the last line says, our thoughts shape us. I think now this is very clear. We are talking to not about Atman, we are talking about a human body with the Atma body and everything as we think in normal life as us. And the thing is, the journey is going from that to the inner journey is going from that to realization of the self. Now, one is since thoughts shape us, thoughts distract us, thoughts lead us. The gospel is think only good and avoid evil. This may not be possible because you might find that you are living in a world where people are not necessarily good or leave you alone. They will combat you, they will put you into trouble when there is no actual action from you. So what do you do in such circumstances? Do you think back evil or do you change? So this is where the thing comes in. You be righteous. You do what you think is right. So you had a war, which was a Kurukshetra war, which was right. You killed everybody, but yes, it was right. So just follow righteousness. There should be no deviation. There should be no change. Now, what is right or wrong depends upon yourself. There is no such thing as universal right. Yes, if somebody there are certain rights which cannot be wrongs which cannot be justified. But what is right in a particular situation for an individual may not be exactly the one followed by another. So there is an element of individuality here. But I think this has to be very clear that there should be no change in your attitude. Just because somebody is trying to act dirty, you don't start following his evil thoughts and try to hit him back. Leave it to God, that will automatically take place. You focus on your right. This I have faced several times in my life. I say to hell with you. I might forgive, but I'll never forget. And I will think that sometimes I even go with a thing, okay, I will take my thing when my time comes. But invariably, long before my time comes, the fellow is finished by his own wrongdoings. So follow righteousness, don't sacrifice your principle for the sake of convenience. So this is how I see all the 4 paragraphs put together.
Absolutely. Don't change your policy just because you want to change something. You must be very clear what to change and what not to change. You can go to the next paragraph if there is no further comment.
The path laid down by God can be comprehended by us only through experience. Once we find the path, we should not deviate from it on the pretext of compulsion of changing times. When the path is clear, why experiment and reinvent the wheel? Our faculty of research should be used for other purposes and not for wasting time on reinventing the wheel.
Any thoughts on this?
No, this is very straightforward. When a regular path, in a religious style, let me put it this way, there is a particular path already defined. It has worked for so many years. Why unnecessarily try to say, I am trying to find a new path? Progress on that path and improve upon it. Don't try to change something that is already proven.
Correct, because that is, don't allow your ego to say that I want to change something, I want to be deliberately different. So that will lead to a different problem. Because that ego there, you want to differentiate yourself and trying to challenge something which is well established and well accepted and which has been helping people.
I think that is change for the changing sake.
Correct.
Is not good.
Next paragraph.
We should not allow our instincts to lie dormant. We should try to keep our inner senses alive to protect the faculty of innovation. At the same time, these senses, though kept awake, should not be allowed to harbor the pains and perversities.
I think simple, indulge your small pleasures, but don't do it at the sake of misusing it. I think it's also.
Sir, can you explain the last line?
Which one?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we should not allow, see what Akka says is that, because we'll have to follow from the first article to this article. She talks about you welcome change, you appreciate change, you accept change, you become great. Then here she says, don't change what is correct. Therefore, there is always a discrimination that is given to you, a sense of discrimination, so that you evolve yourself. At the same time, assuming that I accept everything, why should I change? That's also not correct, because that will ensure that you are not innovative. Ultimately, you must look at things and keep, motivated, afresh every point in time, but apply that innovation to something for betterment and not for challenging something already proved as to be good. Many times when you research, I research other person's attitude. It's a major problem. I preserve the pain of trying to understand and trying to change him or the other one. And there are perverse things also. Therefore, whatever when you keep applying your mind with freshness, you go back to the first para. We don't know why thoughts come. When you want to be afraid, thoughts do come to us. You should be able to filter and retain only those and not the pains or unpleasantness of any of those things. You see, I want you to be innovative all the time. Keep experimenting with yourself. Keep introspecting yourself. Ultimately, beyond thoughts, we'll have to, because thought doesn't affect your Atma. It affects only your gross body and gross behavior. Therefore, these are things once you keep doing whether inner engineering or outer engineering, at some point in time, you don't remember the pains or scars, but remember the learnings.
Thank you, sir.
Mama, here, is she also trying to tell, once again, the last sentence, at the same time, these senses, though kept awake, should not be allowed to harbor the pain and perversities. Isn't that?
Through senses, we get impressions. Impressions are stored as memories. Now, what happens? We keep on harping on that memory. This is like a monkey. A monkey, once it gets a small wound, the wound is covered by natural process, but it keeps on notifying with its nail. It becomes a cancer. Therefore, what she says is, don't try to do that. If you look at, because we got 5 senses, we see things. These senses are being absorbed and stored as thoughts or impressions in our mind. By constant practice of only thinking about good, we should be able to eliminate the arising of the evil things for you. But many times what happens, we remember the hurt caused by somebody. What happens is we keep creating a hatred towards that for him, so that you become very innovative in trying to hurt him more. Therefore, what she says is that when you are innovative, you do get across so many other impressions, but you should be able to guard and not to preserve the bitterness of the past, but keep the learnings of the past and move forward.
Shankar, one more point, of course, not directly related in this sense, but what Akka says, you can indulge in small pleasures. You like an ice cream, have an ice cream, but don't eat 10 kgs of ice cream and land up with pneumonia the next day. So indulge in pleasures, make sure, enjoy your pleasure, but don't take it to such a level that it becomes perverse. You land up in a habit, good or bad. It will be damaging for you. So we have a senses you can keep control. Control means you don't do it to such a level that you go on thinking that I am not supposed to do this. Okay, indulge, get your thing out, but do it within limits to make sure that a bad thing do not continue. You should introspect and keep it. This is another way of looking at it.
Indulgence should not become a craving. That's
Crave.
very, very important. That's
if it becomes a craving, then that perversity and other thing will automatically come. It will bother and happen.
Now, the next para talks about only. He talks, see, when you allow the senses to roam, you can control them only by contentment. That's what she talks in the last paragraph.
Okay. No, I didn't read that side.
Akka is very, very methodical.
Almighty knows what is to be showered on us. He knows what is not needed by us and prevents them from reaching us. We should be content with what is bestowed on us. What we possess is ordained by Him. Those that are to be received by us are also ordained by Him and will reach us at the time that is most appropriate. Once this revelation gets instilled in us, there is no uncertainty. We feel fulfilled all the time and convinced that we lack nothing. Shifting ourselves to this attitude and belief is a real change that we need. This is not a mere change, but a transformation. This transformed mindset will energize us, fortify us, and make us strong and help us to smoothly sail on the ocean of life against all currents. This belief will bring the best out of us and make us perform to our full potential, which in reality is unlimited. This change alone will take you to glorious heights.
This, this reminds us, this article was written in 2016. And in 2017, Akka had the last of her books being released, Muneru. At that point in time, she wrote the Manika Vasika's poem, I don't know what is sick. You know what is good for me. You will give it to me. Then why should I seek something from you? And I think she has gradually progressed into this kind of a thought. When we went to last talk in 2017, December, exactly the same thing she conveyed it Delhi Tamil Singam in an article written for the souvenir. The last paragraph is very important. She made that her point every other time, whenever I met her after 2016.
Okay, I will give you a few interactions with her on these points. Promotion, or I want this job completed, whatever it is. He said, be careful with your prayer. So she made a joking comment, don't ask for anything in Anjaneya temple, he'll give it to you, and then you'll have to accept all the ill consequences of that boon also. So be careful in your prayers. Be reasonable in your prayers. Don't start aiming for the boon. Be reasonable in your prayers, it will get answered. But after that, the main point is when we go, many people ask for their problems to be solved. Just change that focus and say, what is it ultimately you want? You want is a peace of mind. So that is where she kept focusing. You do what you can. You have to do. Don't start expecting me to do it. And at the same time, realize that whatever is happening for good. That is, I think there's a Tamil proverb also on this, a well-known saying that whatever is happening happens for good. Whatever has happened for good, and whatever will happen also will happen for good. I don't know, I don't remember the Tamil version, remember that thing. So this is where you have to do. And like Satya used to say, whatever I ask, she has never done. When she says something will happen, it will never happen. It doesn't matter. But then there was nothing that stopped from the good from happening. The moment you remove that totally from your picture, that I have asked for and she has to give it, remove that thing. There's no transaction analysis here. You ask, nobody prevents you asking, ask. But then do whatever is needed to make it. If it doesn't happen, it is for good. If it happens, you are happy. Sometimes, many a time, it may not happen. Sometimes, after a long time, you'll realize that if it had happened, you would have been landed up in a much bigger problem than what you were thinking of at the time when you were asking. So be careful with your prayers. Now, according to me, she's still there. If you focus, you will find her presence right within you. And that she has told me, you don't have to see me, just think within yourself, you'll find the answer. Just do what you think is right and do it with the righteousness. Remaining, just leave the end. You will find things working out. There's nothing such as bad or happening. It is a progress. Our life is just possibly, even Gautam Buddha needed 34 reincarnations to become nirvana, achieve the state of nirvana. We may have many more. So in about 100 lifetimes, one lifetime is a very small portion. God has his own programs. You do what you have to do and keep going. This is what she has told me. That is how I approach. And I suggest to many people who are younger to do the same thing. You will find life much better. Otherwise, you pray for something, it doesn't happen, and then you start thinking, is Akka angry with me? Is Akka disappointed? Akka, God has better things to do than worry about you. That is what I think she has made it very clear to me. I'm sharing it with you.
Once again, this is only a confirmation of Karma Yoga. You engage in action, leave the result to God. You put your full
Yeah.
heart in your action, therefore accept whatever He gives as the reward. Then there is no problem. No change can affect you. You can be the change. You can change the entire world.
No, sometimes there's no reward at all. I can tell you very straight. Some people say, look, I'm disappointed. I said, you're right to feel disappointed. You're right to feel angry. Don't worry. But keep that anger with yourself. Convince yourself. Calm down. Convince yourself. If it has not happened also, it is for your good. So you have to do your work. So the rewards may not be there for a long time. But then that itself is a reward you will realize when you come later in life.
That's absolutely right. Any other take on this?
Not on this, but if we are concluding, I had one thing to tell. As everything is changing and we are welcoming the change, and this particular session has given more energy to welcome the change. There's one mantram which the Siddha Lakshmi mantram, which was there, which Shankar Mama also sent to everyone. She said, if you fear something, I've already given a mantram, and if you don't chant that and then you keep on telling that there is fear, what is the use? So people can recite that, and I am also reminded of reciting it as I move forward.
Uh, Thanks, Srikantesh. Meena, before concluding, in the opening, I told you that I will give a recipe for soup. It will take about 2 minutes, otherwise I can share. Because that recipe, it's very coincident because Srikantesh talked about Siddha Lakshmi. When Akka appeared as Siddha Lakshmi in 2014, if you remember, right? She was holding 2 pomegranates on her hand, which is how Siddha Lakshmi came onto earth to remove fear. The fear is the only cause where we are not able to change ourselves. We want to stay in the cold comfort. We don't want to accept change. We don't want to move an inch. We want to be in the cocoon all the time. So that when this anarva came, there are so much lying at my house, and I asked Akka, can I try to make a soup out of it? She said, very innovative. Please make a soup out of it. I'll give you the recipe. I tried it for the first time. It is called a pomegranate shorba. I prepared in typical South Indian style. What you require is a few tomatoes. If you want to make a portion for 2 or 3, 2 tomatoes, and 1 fully peeled anar with the seeds, 1 green chili, 1 small ginger, a couple of teaspoons of butter, and a few strands of kotamili. Coriander. And you need to make a small masala. If you can make it fresh, it's well and good. A spoon of dhania, a spoon of black pepper, and a spoon of jeera. Now all your ingredients are ready. You'll have to put the butter into the pot. Before that, you must smoke the tomato on a flame. Remove the skin. It will be fully full of flesh. Add that to the pot, butter, and put 1 chili and slightly mashed ginger and 2 teaspoons of moong dal, yellow moong dal. Then saute them for a few minutes. Then add about 300 to 350 ml of water and allow it to have a 1 whistle. If you don't have a whistling pressure cooker, have just about 10 minutes of pressure cooking. And take it out. Don't strain it. Remove the chili and the ginger, and then blend it. Then simultaneously you blend the anar seeds, keep a couple of teaspoons away, blend the balance, filter it, keep the crushed tomato and other things in boil. When they boil, add that juice fully and then put off the stove within 30 seconds. Because if you allow pomegranate to cook longer, it will become a jam. You can add the salt to the extent you want, then add the coriander leaves before serving, throw in certain pomegranate seeds. It's a very tasty soup. Akka said that this combination of tomato and pomegranate removes fear from your mind. It soothes your nerves very nicely, but remove the chili before grinding. Remove the ginger before grinding. They otherwise will stimulate you to a great extent. And she said the prescription for being content, being happy, all your taste buds will be satisfied. Once your taste buds are satisfied, you will be contented. Then what else you want in your life? I will share this recipe in writing at some point.
Please, please.
There's already a request from Amma here that please tell Shankar Mama to send it in writing because we had a lot of voice breaks in between.
Oh, no problem. I'll put it on this one. I think we are close to close the whole thing. By 6 o'clock, we should close it. And probably we can chant Viniti Padigam and thank Akka for allowing us the opportunity to talk about the topics she wrote. Anybody can chant Viniti Padigam?
Sure. மதியொலியை மதிமீது வைத்து கதியுமே நீ என்று வென்றால் நான் நன்மையே செய்யும் கோலும் தோல் கொடுத்து காக்கும் காலம் காவலாகும் எண்ணும் எடுக்கும் எடுபடியால் இருக்கும் ஐந்து பூதமும் எட்டுக்கும் ஐயமின்றி கட்டுப்பட்டு நிற்கும் ஜீரணமோ ஜடப்பொருளோ உருவம் பெற்றதோ அருவமானதோ எவரோ எதுவோ எவ்வினமோ சாதகம் அறவை நீக்கி குறைவற்ற சாதகமே பயக்கும் ஐம்பொறியும் ஐம்பொருளும் முழுமையும் முழு மனதும் முழு சுத்தமும் முழு பிறவியும் தடையற்ற ஆரோக்கியமும் குறையற்ற வாழும் பற்றிந்த பெற்றிருக்கும் மதி ஒளியை பற்றுவதால் மூவுலகமும் முற்பத்தினும் முழுதும் தன்னுள் அடக்கிய மதி ஒளி அருப்பதிகமிதை முக்காலமுமே நாணிப்பதற்கு எக்காலமுமே பயமின்றி ஜெயமேயாம் முன்வினை பின்வினை யாவும் அறுபட்டு உண்மையில் இடையரா கழிப்பும் நல்கி மறுமை என்ற பிறவியே இல்லை அவள் பாதம் உறுதி சித்திக்குமேயாம் அவள் பாதம் உறுதி சித்திக்குமேயாம் ஓம் மதியோடு நீயேபதி ஓம் மதியோடு நீயேபதி.
Thank you very much. Normally we used to end with the music. Since the time is running out, we will close this meeting. We look forward to another satsang, maybe another good topic. And I welcome a lot of feedback from all of you. Please don't hesitate to give the bad feedback also. That is more important to ensure that we improve our interaction much better so that, we remain connected through this virtual means for a very long period of time. It is going to be the order of the day because trying to get people to physical place, people are not able to participate also. This gives us an opportunity to participate at the comfort of our home. Thank you very much. Looking forward to meet you once again sometime in October. Thank you.
Mama,
thank you.
Mama, you said you wanted to have a music session.
Jai Nandalala.
There is a music session at 6:30 from Nandalala Gandharva Gana Sabha. Please try to join.
You can tune it, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.